That's why we take civics class, because there's a lot of confusion about how law goes. The executive is the president. Yeah, we're gonna look it up. The executive is the president. Who is the legislator in the United States government?
Congress.
Who is the judicial in the United States government?
Supreme Court.
So, who is the judicial?
The judges. That's judicial. That's not executive.
No, it's not. So, who is it that enforces that law?
Judge.
Thank you. We'll look it up though, because there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, that's the Supreme Court.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We're gonna have to look it up.
It's so okay. First, a couple things. The first thing is, whenever they go to war, we go to war in America. I've never seen anybody else declare other than the president.
Thank you.
That's number one.
That's why he's commander-in-chief.
Number two.
Where have you seen that at?
Like when it's a declaration of war, the person who declares the war is the president. The chief of defense comes on after the president has already spoken.
He vetoes it, but he does it.
But he is the one who declares it.
Show it to me in the Constitution.
Who writes it up and who agrees on it? That okay. And then the second thing is the enforcers are the ones who carry it out. The judges don't go to the prison systems or anything like that. So when I'm in court and the judge says, okay, this is a ruling, who comes and carries out the ruling? The judge or the bailiff?
The bailiff.
So how is the judge the executor? He's not the executor because he's just sitting there saying this is a ruling.
He enforces
That's
the law.
it.
He enforces legislative decision, not his own.
But he's not actually in the system saying, okay, you do this, you stay here, no, you can't leave here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
The judges are not in the prison system.
Look it up.
Hold on, I'm gonna read the executive real quick. As distinguished from the legislative and judicial departments of government, the executive department is that which is charged with the details of carrying the law into effect and securing their due observances. The word executive is also used as an impersonal designation of the chief executive officer of the state or nation. And we'll go, your names from court decisions in underwriting. Under the constitutional provisions dividing the powers of government into legislative, the executive, including the administrative and judicial departments, the word administrative is not used as synonymous with executive. But go ahead, what you about to say? So that's, hold on, the sister will have something to say. Or did you?
No, I think that was it.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
Mom, when you go to court and you go to trial, the jurors are the ones that say, okay, we find this one guilty, right? But the judge is the one that instructs them
Exactly.
on what they can find him guilty on.
Not supposed to, though.
He
That's supposed to.
Yeah,
He instructs them on what the law is that they can enforce on this one. Now, when you get your sentence, ain't no president's name on there.
Nope.
Ain't no jury's name on there. It's judge whoever sentenced you to that sentence.
Is it a sheriff's name on there?
Ain't no sheriff, nothing. It's the judge, period. When you get stamped, it says judge, blah, 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 blah. And you were sentenced to whatever. There's nobody else there. So, if the judge is not the one that enforces the law, when the jury comes and says, okay, we find this one guilty because of blah, 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 and the judge says, no, you can't use that. That's not what he's here to be tried for or whatever, right? But then when they come back, the judge says, okay, we're going to give him, the jury says we're going to give him life. Who's the one that says, no, we're going to give him 25 years?
The judge?
The jury don't do that. The judge does that. Listen, I'm going to speak from personal experience. I'm not talking about what nobody's looking at, okay? When I went to court for my case, all right, I had a lawyer, there was a prosecutor, right? There was a judge. There was no jury yet because I didn't go to trial. Only person I dealt with was the judge. So, the prosecutor who represents the state, right? The prosecutor came and said, we're offering you 25 to life. I didn't take it. The prosecution then came back again and said, we're offering you 20 years. I didn't take it. Their last deal was 15 years. I didn't take it. The judge then said, I am going to offer one last deal. Okay? And the judge says, 12 and a half years. This is what you have to do. The prosecutor stood up and said, no, you can't do that. I'm not in agreement with this. He told her to sit down. This is his courtroom. And what he says in here is law. So, they ended up going back. I got 12 and a half years because of that judge. There is nobody else that signed on my sentence. Just the judge, Judge Wilson was his name. And that's it. The president didn't come and say, you get this time. The chief of defense didn't come say, the counsel, nobody. Just that judge. So how is he not the executive?
So, in the court of law, the judge has no right to give somebody, say, guilty or not guilty. He just says, okay, is he guilty or is he not guilty? Oh, he's guilty? This is what the law says you can do to this guilty person for what he did. So, of course, it don't matter if he said, I'm throwing all that out, you can have 3 years in a context. It don't make it law. He has to still follow a certain thing, and that's the problem. They're not following the law in the court systems, and we all know that.
Okay.
So those aren't good examples.
Without going on any speculation, show me in the Constitution where it says that. I'm trying to find my Constitution now. Show me in the Constitution where it gives a breakdown of the executive, the legislature. What does it say? Oh, he got it. Thank you, brother.
The Constitution provides that the Congress has the power to declare war.
Oh,
Article 1,
thank you.
Section 8.
Thank you. Keep going.
And that the President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the military. Article 2, Section 2. So that was going on from what y'all said.
So it's not the President who can declare war?
So the President just enters wherever he wants to. He can do all that, but like when it comes to like set in stone, like saying like this is war,
It's war?
That Congress.
But the argument on the table is we're talking about legislative, judicial, and executive branch. So can you explain to us which department, and if we talk about the United States Constitution, explains what those are?
Okay, so the executive branch is top authority. That's so in this when we started off, the branch would be executive. So executive would be the top.
Right.
Judicial is, I want to say, let me look at it. I might have to. Okay, so the judicial pertains to the judgment in courts of justice or the administration of justice. Judicial proceedings is judicial pertaining to the courts of law. So it's just court. So what was the question?
I'm trying to get the difference between legislative, executive, and judicial. Which department does which?
Okay, so judicial's the court system.
Right.
Court system. Executive would be the top president in that area. Legislative is the creation of law, so that's Congress.
So I'm asking.
Can you repeat that?
Legislative is the creation of the law. Judicial is the
Interpretation.
pushes the interpretation of the law. Executive is the top.
Okay.
And so that's why in our Constitution, the grand sheet actually holds two of them. But it's just not the judicial.
Right, we can make law.
We can make law and enforce it. That's what it says.
Who wants to?
I do.
Go ahead.
The judge is, in the court, is interpreting the law as it is put forth by each side.
Right.
The district attorney
Right.
and the attorney, or the public defender, or the lawyer.
Right.
And whoever comes up with the best argument,
Right.
the judge interprets that and takes it into consideration to see who is winning
Right.
by law, by legislative, by what's already put in place.
Right.
When that person, that defendant or the plaintiff, in most cases the defendant is given a a judgment from a jury if they're on trial, guilty or not guilty, then the judge, according to the law, will give the sentence. But they're only coming from the perspective of what's already in place, what Supreme Court has already put in place as the law.
Right.
So they're enforcing the law that's already there then?
Right.
Exactly.
They're forcing, they're not making up any new, the judge doesn't make up any new laws. But what the judge can do is now you have these criteria for what the sentence holds, how much time that sentence holds, and the judge can say, well, I'm not going to give them the maximum. Matter of fact, I'm going to give them the minimum. You know, and he can say what that sentence would be. He completes that whole course.
So what we have here is Islam. So what we have is the judge is still interpreting the law that the defense or the prosecution put up on the table according to legislation, because that's all that the Supreme Court is only judging everything off of is legislation that Congress has already enacted as law, as a statute already.
Right.
So now the judge is not enforcing anything. His interpretation is going on which side. Bam! Once he do that, the sheriff, that department is coming in and about to take whoever they're going to take. They're going to be the one in enforcement, but the judicial department only makes an interpretation on what was law. It's not enforcing nothing. And his interpretation is what goes down.
Yes, ma'am. One quick question. Where's the sheriff in the Constitution?
He's executive. Where is he at? Is it Constitution? Or where is he?
Yeah, where is his title within the Constitution? Where did you ever see the sheriff in the Constitution? Huh?
It's not a bird.
Exactly. So he don't have a judicial, legislative, or executive because he doesn't have a station out of the departments of the Constitution.
California or United States? No, not the United States. In the state Constitution, sheriff they have a place.
No, we talking about as far as the executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch of the Constitution, which they're drawing off of. We're only reading one. We're not reading the state of California.
That would be the marshal. That would be the marshal.
Where's he at in the Constitution?
Anybody reading that?
Is he there? Do you know if he's there? Islam, sister.
I think what I'm hearing is a differentiation in language, because the word declaration is when somebody speaks and says something and makes a statement. When we talked about the president is the one that declares to the public the war is about to be happening, even though the
spokesperson announces it.
Right, you know, that's still the declaration though. I mean, we have a play on words here. Then we have enforcement. Law enforcement, as we know, is, I think, the police, the sheriff. These are the enforcers of the law that is written on a civil level. So we're talking civil, we're talking state, we're talking federal. Then that would make the difference, because we're talking about this. We're talking a judicial, or we're talking a branch of government. So we have three different levels that we're talking about here. So when we say enforcement, we need to distinguish what form of enforcement or what level of the branch we're talking about, because the enforcers are the sheriff and the police. But then when we get into what we call the court system, that's the difference between the court system and the civil system.
Who they work for?
Application for law.
Who do the sheriffs, the police, and everybody work for?
They work for the county supervisor.
Right.
Who are the executive branch of the county.
Have you ever seen the county supervisor sign off on any document? As far as like coming to get you?
They sign on the base document of the legislative process. So the legislators write the
You seen one sign on
law.
the warrant? Huh? You seen one sign on the warrant?
No, they sign off on the process. In other words, they set up on the standards to create the warrant. So before a warrant can even be created, they have to have a certain standard. And the executive branch is the one that creates that process with the legislature.
Okay, the county board of supervisors.
That's a
County supervisor, what is their position? Out of those three?
They're a council.
No, I'm saying out of the executive, legislative, and judicial, which one are they?
They be executive.
They'd be the executive. For the county level,
No, okay, on the county level.
they'd be the executive.
What you say?
Legislative.
Who is the executive of the county?
The county supervisor.
No, there's the mayor of the county.
Whoever makes the county laws.
Oh, okay.
That's the legislature.
So the legislator will be the county supervisor. The enforcer will be that county judge.
Okay.
And if you work, see, this is the catch, that's why you gotta understand.
That's in the court system, though.
Yeah.
So when we're talking
Hold
about
on.
this,
The court system is only bound, the people outside the court, the police, everybody working for the county, they only respond to what that judge says. They're not going, that's why I'm thinking, in the so-called sovereignty movement, you hear more say, or you hear people say, you can't come and arrest me unless you got a warrant. You're not supposed to be acting on your own without a warrant. That's a fact. Who signs, this was this stop going on all that funny stuff. Who is the one who signs that warrant?
Judge.
So, otherwise, can a police or anybody just come and make up something and come and get you without that judge saying what they're supposed to say? What you got to say?
No, they can't do that. That's why we're saying differentiation between the different branches that we're talking about. Because the understanding is you're talking about a court system versus a civil system versus, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
No. Hold on. We got to correct what you're thinking about. You think that you're doing, you separating everything.
Okay.
We're not talking about court system, civil system. We're talking about judicial system.
Okay.
All of those systems are under that judicial system. Hold up. The sister who, Sister Najee Lahiel, we need your help. Yeah, we need your help. Come over here. Because you know, you actually took paralegal classes, and all the speculation and guessing and hoopla. We need you to explain something.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead before she come in.
Islam, what I want to say is, with the president, when he gives out something, it's not a declaration. It's usually an executive order.
Okay.
It's an executive order. It's not a declaration.
Can you quickly explain for us the difference between, what is the executive, judicial, and legislative bodies, and what are their purposes and jobs?
The legislative body is the one who is sent to the Capitol or wherever to represent a group of people. Senators, congressmen, or aldermen. Then the legislature passes law. The judicial interprets law and decides if it's unconstitutional or not.
Right.
The executive department executes the law. They enforce the law. That's it.
How do the executive enforce the law?
He's commander-in-chief, so he has control of all the armed forces. So he's the one who sends out the guns. Bullets don't fly until he signs off on it. And that's how he does it. He sends in whatever regulating body is supposed to go in and take care of that issue. If it's a marshal, if it's a National Guard, if it's international, if it's military. So yes, that's how he enforces or executes the law. He ain't supposed to be making it, and he's not supposed to be interpreting it.
Okay, so where does the judge come in?
The judge is the one who interprets it based on what's your argument. Okay, he's the referee.
Right.
That's it. He knows. He's supposed to know the rules. He's supposed to know the rules. He's the referee.
So
it's not supposed to be arbitrary, which is what is going on a lot now. There's so when you deal with if it's not a criminal matter and the state is somehow involved, like child support and child cases, the state ain't supposed to be involved in that. That's arbitrary. They inserted themselves into that stuff. And then that's why I tell more, don't even bother with the state.
So how does the president enforce the law on a traffic ticket?
He can't, because it's unconstitutional. Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham, any law that was passed in contradiction to what's in the Constitution can be ignored with impunity.
How does he enforce it on murder?
The president?
Yeah.
On murder? He can't, because that's a state issue. So murder isn't litigated at the federal level. I've never heard of a federal murder case.
Well, Islam, all crimes are commercial, so when it comes down to that,
right,
he's not involved in that.
Right. That's why I was like, that's weird. I never thought of that before. The president can't be involved in that.
That's what we really talking about as far as judge and judicial here in the area. The judge here, what is his position?
In the state?
I think we're talking about county, right? Yeah, anywhere.
County? Well, if it's not a federal judge, their position is the banker. They're sitting up there to collect your money. That's it. They're not up there to enforce law, interpret law, or nothing. That's why when you go and look
What
at
they supposed to do? I know.
what they supposed
Yeah, what they
to do,
supposed. We know
they're
they.
supposed to, it's the same thing. Everything at the federal level is supposed to be mirrored at the state level.
Okay.
There's not supposed to be that much change because you're supposed to be able to jump between jurisdictions easily. So they're supposed to be up there acting in the same capacity as a federal judge. You know, what has the legislature, what have the people agreed upon as our set of laws in this area?
So who enforces the law on a, we was talking about, who enforces the law on a local level?
The sheriff. And then above him is the coroner.
Coroner?
The coroner.
Explain that.
The coroner is above the sheriff. I don't know why, I had to look into it, but I was shocked when I found out.
So
The guy who
coroner's
collected
hired
the
in
dead
the
body, I guess so. And then the notary hired everybody.
Everybody's a dead body.
You know that? The notary is hired in everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
So explain how the sheriff is over everybody.
The sheriff is an elected official. He picked him to carry the guns around. And that's all he does. He's supposed to bring his gun. If y'all can't settle it with your own gun, you call him.
So is it one or a whole bunch?
There's one sheriff and a bunch of deputies.
Right.
So can the deputies enforce the law?
Yes, as a sheriff's representative. But they better be careful because they can make the sheriff lose his job. Because they're acting as his representative. You know, notice the age, maybe notice the precedent. So if I picked you and you picked this guy, so if he messed up, I'm coming after you. I don't go after the dog, I go after the owner.
Can the sheriff come and enforce the law without a warrant?
No,
So who signs the warrant?
a judge is supposed to sign the
So
warrant.
what is
Not a magistrate, not a commissioner, a judge.
So what is the relationship between the sheriff and the judge then? If he can't move without the sheriff signing off, without the judge signing off on his movement, how is the sheriff higher than the judge?
He's not higher than the judge. That's why it's checks and balances.
Right.
Nobody can move without the other person's permission. So he might appear to have more power, but he doesn't, because he can't do nothing. Like, he can walk around saying he's the sheriff, but unless he has something to enforce from the enforcer, he can't enforce. That's supposed to be the governor, but he acts as the local president. He's in the executive board, which is funny because he's also legislative. It's kind of weird. That's why I don't deal with states. I don't deal with states. It's too complicated. It's a big mess and it's different every time you talk to
That's why
board.
I said the Grand Sheik holds those two stations.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
so,
that's the Grand Sheik and
so
Chairman.
then,
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm up here.
Yeah.
I'm neutral for the record, I'm neutral.
Okay.
When the expert came up here, she said exactly what I said. I started law school in January.
all that high
I
stuff
want to say
sounds
it.
good.
You gotta say something. I got books.
What's the grand chief? What's the chairman? What's the assistant grand chief? What's the, all that other stuff sounds great.
Children, I told you I'd take a break. You need to be hearing this.
According to,
For real.
according to,
There will be a test.
so you can have it right here.
Okay.
According to Act 1, who's who?
Yes, the Grand Sheik is the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
So what position is that as far as executive, judicial, and legislative?
Let's see, it says he's empowered to make law, that's legislature, enforce law, that's executive.
Thank you.
And let's see, I'm trying to find where it says that you can interpret it too. But if you can make it, you should be able to interpret it, so that could be considered judicial too.
So what is the grand body in Act 1? Wouldn't that be?
That's the people, we the people. That's supposed to be your constituency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those are the people who keep you in the position of Grand Chief. Because they can remove, somebody has to be able to remove them.
Yeah,
Because otherwise it's a tyranny.
Yeah, so who's the grand body? You say it's the people, so all these are the grand body?
Yes.
They're not the members?
The grand body is 7 tried and true, isn't that right?
The Grand
You got
Body
my
is
address, so if I'm wrong, correct me, please.
Hold on. Okay, and who will be the judicial, you say? In that?
In this, well, with the assistance of the grand body, I would use them as the judicial, or the jurors, jurists. I don't believe in jurors. Jurists know what the law is. Jurors just make the justice.
Okay.
So.
All right.
When it says with the power of the prophet and the grand body, the prophet and the grand body, would that be the executive at that particular time in that in Act 1?
Right. Wait, the executive at that particular time, because the grand sheik is not immortal. So that part is going to have to change, which is why, if I'm not mistaken, the prophet is there to maintain consistency. So when in doubt, refer to the person who kicked it off. And, you know, there shouldn't be no doubt because your grand sheik should already know what to do, otherwise he shouldn't be your grand sheik.
Right.
Yeah, he's asking a question.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just asking, so like, would the balance set by the prophet be judicial? Like, the balance set by the prophet, would it be considered?
Oh, most definitely.
Yep, you got it. You got it. It says it right there, divine constitution and bylaw, right there. Tell your nose. Okay, thank you.
Who's the grand body? Islam.
It's legislative. Along with the prophet, just like it says the grand sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Council of America is empowered to make law, that's legislative, and enforce law, that's executive, with the assistance of the prophet. So that's where the law come in right there, with the assistance of what? With the law. The prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Council of America. So the grand body are those who hold the title grand.
Right.
Okay.
That's a body of its own.
Right.
So is the grand sheik in accordance with the prophet and that grand body? With the grand body. Is he trying to hang out with the grand body? Is he doing business with the grand body?
Right.
And is he doing it according to the prophet's law?
Okay.
And then assistant grand sheik can assist in that. Along, and the members is watching as well.
Right.
That's we the people is the members.
Right.
Because the people are sitting there looking at you. You ain't gonna pull nothing over no people.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's going on.
that's the main thing. The prophet Noble Jar League is the one who makes the law. Because we looking at his divine constitution and bylaw with him in the middle. And his name and everything, it says his constitution. His Moorish Council of America. And all of that at the bottom. His God Allah and all of this. So he's the one that's the law. But everything else is being interpreted by your grand sheik. That's why, like one was saying, you gotta have a good grand sheik. Because he make law and he enforce law. He enforce what law?
Islam.
The prophet law.
Now, my thing, I thought the grand body was what, 7 men and women tried and true by the prophet. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's the Supreme Grand Council.
Okay,
And they are
so he's saying the grand body,
Gotcha.
he's going back with the most saying just the grand, anyone who's going to enforce the grand sheik, the grand governor. The grand sheik is the grand governor in that accordance.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta make sure.
Right there in the
Did
word.
that answer your question? Get clear?
I didn't notice this. That answered my question.
I still just want to know who's the executive in Act 1.
Oh, that's never been an argument.
Yeah, who's the executive?
Okay, an executive, as far as government is concerned, you have 2 stations. Just like Commander-in-Chief, like I was saying earlier. You have business, you know what I'm saying, like they say, you got private. So in the business world, an executive is the top man in the business. He ain't getting past the executive. He's the one that's in charge of everything. Of course. But if we're going to talk about government, nobody in a position in government is in charge. It's the people in that specific community who enact certain laws, that enact a city councilman, that enact a state senator who's enacting laws of a specific county, that the people made that, and the people chose this person to go up. So never in time is an individual in their system really like representing themselves. They always represent the people who are actually the legislation. That's why the people are the legislation in the judicial trial. The people can overturn whatever the state say. When the people say, we just don't believe in that, they making up another law. Now, also, when that judicial judge try to interpret and say, you're only in this bounds of realm, that's where you get the California Rules of Court. And when the California Rules of Court book first start off, it explains to you about the Judicial Board Council, which they're their own private demonstration that pushes their own private laws that have nothing to do with state legislature. It tells you right in the beginning. So anytime you're dealing with the Judicial Council in their sector, it's heavy. That's why a Moorish American must come in here with documents that say he's from a temple, period. His own demonstration. Or you're going to be at the whims of that Judicial Council. Or you better know the laws of the state. Islam?
That's your question.
So, executive is 2. It's also one that's the head of the business in any business. And also, an executive department is the one who enforces the law. This one.
To answer your question. You say Canal Mo?
You say Grand Chief, why he enforce the law?
The Grand Chief enforces the law.
Yeah, very Grand Chief can make it enforce the law.
You got legislation, according to chapter 47, excuse me, where your temple can make its own customs, right? And own laws, right, according to, right? So he's able to do that. He's a legislator too. Got two stations, one man.
Oh, I was pretty much going to say what Brother Allen Bay said as far as the Grand Chief and Chairman of the Mordecai Temple is in power to make law. And that's according to, like, the temple, like, he can make a law here. If he feels the need for a certain law to go forth here, he can make that law because it's needed in this particular temple. Okay? And enforce laws, the laws that are already there, the additional laws, the Constitution and the bylaws, those are to be enforced because they're already there. That foundation is already laid. So he has to make sure that the prophet has his way and enforce those laws.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Any other questions? All right, Mo. You don't want to start this in the first place.
I'm saying, we done passed that.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, what does preserve mean? Who are the officers that carry out the law and the temple then?
Who?
Okay, like how you have the judge who interprets the law, right? And enforces the law, like sign off on warrants, right? And then you have the sheriff and the deputies and the police. So in the temple, what is that role? Like who fills that role?
I said it's just the Grand Chief. The reason I said that,
Exactly.
because right here, the Assistant Grand Chief is the Assistant Grand Chief.
In all cases.
Lives according to love, if we live according to love. So the Assistant Grand Chief will be the person that, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I initially said, executive the Grand Chief, grand body is the legislator. Again, the executive Grand Chief, grand body legislator, and the assistant Grand Chief is the judicial. The catch is, say Grand Chief, right? What is his title? Assistant Grand Chief. So he still has that title.
Right.
They are, see, this is the thing. If I make a law, I can't judge you on that law. That's bias. You understand? If I make a law, nothing but red turbans. You ain't do that, right? Nothing but red turbans on the sisters, right?
You said in the temple, though. You said in the temple, though.
What you mean?
When you said number red.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example. I make a law, number red turbans.
Right.
I can't sit over the person, you know, when they be like being tried by the witness. Let's say, hey, it's like this, catch you in a white turban. You can't really come before me because I make the law. That'll be conflict of interest. There's the system. And, you know, the scales, or they call the scales, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Assist, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, let it go both ways. He lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But if I did something out of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, he got the right to judge that. So that's why I say that's judicial. Because I can't, if I make a law, if I may maybe think about Supreme Court Council, if I make a law, I can't really judge on that without bias because I made it. You know, I can get the ego, I made the law, you're going to do what I tell you to do. No. But if the law's already written out, like you said, the executive wrote out the law, right? He's just going to interpret it. Well, the law says this. Literally. He do it all the time. Well, the Constitution says this. Okay, well, what's the confusion? Like you just showed the vote. It says it in the second sentence. He interpreted it and just said exactly what it said. So he's going to read the law, interpret what it says, and do the judgment. That's why I say those three. Go ahead.
That's why, listen, be real serious with this measure, because the Grand Chief getting power to make law, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about
anybody.
I'm talking about anybody.
Anybody in the station.
To make law and enforce law with the assistance of the prophet in the grand body. Who else is a part of the grand body? See? He the only one part of the grand body too. So you really hold all of them. You really want to go there. Who's a part of the grand body? The assistant grand chief, only because he's assistant in grand chief. But that's a whole other sentence. In the first sentence, he still holds all of that demonstration. So, in the Morris Line Symbol of America, not only is it like the civic and government, it's empire status.
This was the empire status.
You're going to notice now, it's empire status. So when somebody in the future that go crazy and try to push that line, you already know that it was already right there. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? That's why you have to be good, moral people.
You hear me say all the time.
You gotta be good.
Moral first.
You gotta be good. To do this demonstration, you gotta want all your genes out of you. You need help, too. You know what I'm saying?
So can Act 1 be broken out into a temple?
Yes.
Each individual temple? The Grand Sheik, obviously the chairman, the same. The grand body would be the council.
Yes.
And then the members, obviously the members, the Grand Sheik is a member too.
Of course.
So the grand body, let's not forget that. So if the Grand Sheik go crazy, he ain't gotta be the Grand Sheik no more.
Never.
No.
Never. We know this.
The Grand Sheik.
We know this.
The members are the ones, you know what I'm saying, that vote him, okay, you're gonna be the one that's gonna lead us, however it's gonna go.
Who would they go to?
What?
If the Grand Sheik go crazy, who would you go to solve that problem?
Assistant Grand Sheik. Like this one, perfect.
Hold up. I'm doing it harder. Okay, I don't see no behind right now.
Who polices the law?
Why you gotta let me know that we got police? You know what I'm saying? No, the Sheik, man. The Sheik to the Morris Line Symbol of America. Yes, so you are relieved. The Sheik to the Morris Line Symbol of America carry out that enforcement. You know, and the adepts. Because there are difference between Sheiks and adepts. You know, the adepts are the ones who assist the Sheik. They're like the Sheik assistants. So, that's the answer to the question.
Was it pertaining to Act 4?
Oh, we don't act 4. Yeah, we do. Just want to jump 2 acts all the way down to Act 4. Let's leave me alone. Okay. No? Anybody? Are we clear on that one? We just got one. So I'm gonna ask a question. Well, 3 of them. Who is the executive? Who is the who's the legislator?
Grand body.
Oh, legislator. Excuse me. Yeah.
Who's the legislator? And who will be the judicial, the one that
Assistant Grand Chief.
That's all. That's the basic, and that's how the problem is about it. You know, it can't be no one. That's why I'm messing with you. It can't be no one man tyrannical administration. Like he's saying, the Grand Chief hold all those positions, but the pocket made it fair. Because you know what? I mean, like you both said, we've been subject to one of those tyrannical Grand Chiefs back in the day, and it didn't work out. You know, so. Yeah, you take it to the assistant grand chief. The assistant grand chief gonna be like, well, the members are the chiefs. It could be chiefs, because you can take to your chief, you can take to the assistant grand chief. The members say that such and such law isn't being enforced. Now he can automatically kick it back. If he sees that the members got a misunderstanding, it never make it up to the grand chief. Kick it back. Well, this is what the law says, such, and then you're like, well, we thought, no, it don't mean that. It means this, bam. But if the Grand Chief is not living according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, be like, hey, look, you know, the members against the members versus Grand Chief, and who's going to sit on that as a judge of that? It can't be the Grand Chief. Right. That would be crazy. So the assistant Grand Chief be like, well, Grand Chief is what they saying. They got charges up against you, and this is the situation. And and according, because he's supposed to know the law as well, so according to the laws, you gotta 30-day restriction, such and such, or whatever. We all know about how this one.
What, oh, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead. See you here.
It's wrong. According to chapter 47.
I love it.
It says, every subordinate temple of Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. What is considered a law for our temple, and what is considered a custom? And our customs, are they mandatory? Which, if they were, then that would make it a law within the temple. So, what's the distinguishing factor between custom and law? Every subordinate temple in the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covering of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple.
All right. You already know laws are enforced with a penalty. Customs aren't. Like, we make it, like the Lord was asking one week, I think one Friday night, said, well, what are our customs? So let's say we say caftans are our custom, right? You can't get fined, or you can't get a penalty if you don't wear a caftan. But if we was to say caftans are law in the temple, right? The council coming, sisters wear caftans, brothers be in the suit. I'm just saying, like the Nation of Islam. I'm just giving an example. Brothers got to be in the suit. That's law, then that's enforceable. But a custom, you can't really penalize a custom, because we know custom belongs to the nature of truth.
Well, that's kind of like my question. So, like, other than the obvious laws that we have, like our divine constitution and bylaws, our laws in our Holy Quran of Mecca, like a custom, like as far as, okay, for instance, like, something that's been brought up, okay, the turban demonstration. Now, is it customary for all the sisters to wear red turbans, or is it law in the temple that all the sisters need to wear red turbans inside the meetings, Friday and Sunday?
Right now, it's customary because I haven't put it in writing. If I was to put it in writing, it would become law. But I haven't, like, honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't made not one law. Ever. I mean, if I'm mistaken, let me know. Hold on. I think he had to stand up first, and I got you.
I just wanted to ask, as the sitting at the same time, could the custom be a law at the same time? Like, if my custom is a law to...
Give an example of what you're thinking
I'd
about.
say, here, the red turban is a custom. Somewhere else, a blue turban is a custom. Right. Okay.
Right.
So, although the custom is red turban here, and it is a law, over there it's a law and a custom as well. Like you have custom as well. Does that make sense?
It's law.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So a custom can be a law as well. Because I mean, we all can wear red turbans. That's our custom. That's what we know for. You know what I'm saying? That would be our custom. And somebody else would wear all blue turbans. That would be their custom.
That would be their custom.
As well as the law, though. So I mean, we can have it as a law here.
Yeah, we can make it a law.
But it can be a custom as well because that's what
it's usually a custom first. I'm being honest. Usually customs become law.
Right.
But if you're saying it's a custom, it's unenforceable. I mean, unpenalized. You can't penalize just on basic custom right off the bat. But law, you can penalize. Hold on. Islam, and I got you, Mom. You. Islam. I'll say a few minutes.
Islam.
Praise Allah, Mr. Prophet Charlie.
Islam to the prophet.
I have a question / draw.
Okay.
It's like I don't even know what to call it really. It's a straw.
You strong man in this moment. Go ahead.
Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make laws. So the Grand Sheik will be
anybody.
Whoever it matters, right? The Grand Sheik and the chairman, so the chairman is who?
The Grand Sheik.
The Grand Sheik? Okay, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
right? So it's the law that a sheep can make, it can't contradict the prophet none.
Never.
Never none, right?
None.
So, because that's the assistance of the prophet, because if it contradicts the prophet, then it cannot be a law.
No.
And if the sheep is trying to enforce a law that contradicts the prophet, then you have to go to the assistant grand sheep.
Yeah, the assistant grand sheep should catch you right off the bat.
Right, and if he doesn't, if he fails to though, then eventually it's gonna fall on the people if the draw is the draw. Because if you contradict the prophet in the science, I can prove it in the science that you are, then nobody has to abide by that law. So my question is with the difference between the sheep, as I understand it, the grand sheep makes law to the temple that he resides in, referring to etiquette, temple etiquette, not new law. So, if a law that he creates would be to govern the temple, not to govern the more science temple of America, because I'm only listening to the prophet period. Islam, in fact, if, I don't know if this is an example or a sister's law, with the sisters wearing red turbans only in the temple, I recall the sisters being able to wear any color of the rainbow turban. So how is that going to be a law that can be enforced if the prophet said sisters can wear the turbans that they choose?
It's as it says in Acts 1, or actually in chapter 47, that you can make your own laws and customs. So if in this temple, if the grand sheep said it's customary, of course it's customary for us to wear turbans. That's a custom of Moorish Americans. It's displayed by the prophet on pictures, so that's already a scene. In the temple, if the grand sheep says that all sisters are to wear red turbans, it wouldn't be for all sisters coming in, of course. It would be for the members. But if it's red turbans, then that's the custom of this particular temple. Now, on the outside, when you're saying that the prophet said that you can wear all colors of the rainbow, all colors of the rainbow. So, but if it's specified inside of a temple, because in other temples, and I know this from experience, you got all the sisters wearing white turbans in certain temples. They wear all white, no matter if they're Sheikhs or not. They don't have to have that station. They wear all white. So that's a custom of that particular temple. So, Islam.
A custom isn't a law.
No, it's not.
So Islam, then that can't be a law put on the sisters to only wear a red turban. That's out of law.
It's a custom.
Let me ask you a question. Where's the law that the prophet said the sisters can wear?
The prophet didn't need a law. He said whatever the prophet said is Islam.
That's what he said?
No, I'm telling you that the most, if the prophet said, you can listen to the prophet. Imitate the prophet. So whatever the most said, you can demonstrate. So if the most said, or if the prophet said that the sisters can wear whatever color turban that they wear, it cannot be a law that they cannot, because the prophet said that they can, wherever they are. Islam
said wherever they are?
You can demonstrate that.
I would just say we're going off like the prophet that made things up with many letters and instructions on how to demonstrate as Moorish Americans, so we gave them a specific constitution and bylaw to go by. So if you don't play a part with that, he said you can wear any color, but that wasn't a bylaw that we have to go by. That wasn't in the 7th Act. So I would say we're going strictly off the act, and then you can bring in that little customary part if you choose to wear red turbans, because he didn't really say that. Put it in law, you can wear it all colors, I'm like, that's the law code stated, but I mean, go by the law.
Custom can also, that's true, custom is not law. But it said that each temple can make a law and customs according to the prophet. So the grand sheik, he can make a law, like he was saying earlier, he can make a law, and then it should be a law for the temple. Everybody should respect it as a law. No, it can't go against the prophet's law. And like what the Mo was saying earlier, if we make a temple law, for this temple, if the grand sheik makes a law like only red turbans for this temple here, inside here in Blanc, right? Outside of the temple, it's a custom to any other temple. It's just our temple custom. You understand what I'm saying? But it could still be law. So, but it will be custom to outside people. Yeah. So, but no, it's not. Because if he enforces it as a law, then it's a law for this temple. But it will be a custom outside of the temple. And if you make something that's a custom here, it's just custom here or outside.
I think I'm confused on the definition of custom.
Yeah, custom not law.
By custom, I actually think, like, if the custom is something known about, custom is I actually think so. If the custom is correct, because, I mean, if custom is something that you know for the way that you know what I'm saying, the way, if you all wear red purpose, that's part of the custom. I mean, although that it is a law, although they did say this is a law, after it has become a law, it's a custom as well, because that's what you're known for.
Right.
So it's custom as well as
Right.
I see y'all here, but I gotta go on here.
Can I finish first?
Oh, okay, hold on.
One more thing. The prophet never said that in no law. Somebody said this is what the prophet said. So we have oral statements that one said, I heard the prophet say that the sisters can wear all terms of wear rainbow. So we don't equate none of that, even though we might say them sometimes because we like to give honest to it, but that's definitely no law because we know somebody else said what they saw, what they said they heard the prophet say. So it's not law.
So then, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
So if that's the draw, then that has to be fact on all different plans, which means that nothing that I hear that the prophet said can apply to me, nothing. I don't regardless of how good it is or what the draw is, I don't have to honor that as a law because it's hearsay, because the prophet didn't write it. If the prophet didn't write it, then it shouldn't be Morris, it's not Morris. But or say it, like the prophet said many things that wasn't written. He's the prophet, so his words are from Allah. So that's a fine line to say we're going to disregard something like that's not even concrete enough for me as a Morris.
What to
say that if the prophet, like if either the prophet said it or he didn't. Like it can't be believed sometimes or not believed other times or held for away sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
And not, you know what I'm saying, other times. That's
what I'm telling you. So when you make statements like that.
No. Question's wrong. Question's wrong. Remember, it's mine.
All right, now I got it.
I was just going to say that or add, saying that I know that it seems that laws and customs seem to have that thin line, as you were saying. It's very, I guess, hard to enforce, I would say, because if you have a custom and then someone doesn't want to follow that custom that day, will they be penalized as if it was a law?
Right, no.
You know, is it okay to say, you know what, that's a custom, so you're not penalized under the law, right?
Right. It cannot be penalized under the law.
Islam, Brother Johnson Hill. Oral statements, of course, it's where somebody say they heard the prophet said. Okay, so let's just take that into account. The prophet said that you can wear any color turban or the rainbow, right? So if it's established here that we're going to wear red turbans, the sister's going to wear red turbans, that's not outside of the colors of the rainbow, of the spectrum of the colors of the rainbow. But if the Grand Chief says, well, I want you, all the sisters, to wear pink, that's not a color of the rainbow. So I would say if that's outside of the law, outside of the customs, that can't go, then we could say, no, we don't have to follow that. As far as, there was another point I was going to make as far as custom, and it might come back to me what the brother was saying about the thin line. It's after the thin line on the custom.